You're watching Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Hello? 911? Yes, Oilers Nation every day didn't start on time again. Oh, that's not an emergency. Okay, let's get into it with the lead. Welcome into Oilers Nation every day. If you missed that news story...
How dare you waste a public resource like that?
I know. CTV News did a story on the strangest reasons why Edmontonians called 911 this year, and one of them was someone called and said, I don't know what channel the Oilers game's on, which is fantastic stuff, right?
I respect that.
Yeah.
Must have been a Monday.
Yeah, BM tweeted it and was like, that was definitely an Amazon Prime game, but really good stuff. The Oilers having some fun with it on Twitter as well. Welcome into the show presented by Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary, at Bet365. We are coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. Of course, you can check them out online, sportscloset.ca, or one of their 3 spots in the Edmonton area, Sherwood Park Mall, St. Albert Mall, or the Kingsway Mall. Tyler, Liam, Jay with you. We got a couple of guests lined up on today's show.
Who's coming on?
Big day.
A twofer for the people, as
Whoa.
Big Cat would say. Devan Dubnyk, former Oilers goalie, going to be by in about 15 minutes' time. Jason Demers at 12:40 as well. Had to move him from his usual Friday spot. So we got a couple of former NHLers on the program today, boys. Should be fun.
Big day.
What a program.
Well, and then we also have just like 20 other things we need to talk about.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day. John Klingberg's going to make his Oilers debut. Edmonton might sign Brandon Saad. Who knows? We're going to talk about that a little bit. And this is actually what I wanted to start with. The NHL announcing the Edmonton Oilers quarter-century team. They're the second last team to get announced, and the Oilers, or the voters, I should say, went with a pretty much all-modern group for team number 1. It's Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse, and then Dwayne Rollison is the goaltender. I mean, really hard to argue with any of these. When I did my official predictions over on Oilersnation.com, it was actually pretty similar to this. The only change, I had Ryan Smith on instead of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, which was tough, but I felt like they'd want to give a nod to like the older era with the first team. And then I also had Jason Smith on over Darnell Nurse.
Yes, Jason Smith, 100%.
Chris Pronger?
I didn't have Pronger on either of them.
So here's the argument for
I
it.
mean, most impactful defenseman we've ever had.
Totally. And I know Matthias Ekholm has played a little bit longer, but he's also not been around that long. I feel like the argument for Pronger is right there in front of you, like if you're putting Ekholm on the team. I think I would have changed Evan Bouchard out for Pronger maybe, or one of the two, whatever it would have been.
So I had no problems with any of these 5, really. The second team, AB, if you want to flip to that, I think does get a little bit interesting. They went with the Horkov, Smith, and Hemsky line, which makes sense. I went 6 for 6 predicting the forwards, but granted, it was very easy.
The 6 forwards that were picked were the 6 highest scoring forwards since 2000.
Yeah, super simple. I had 3 of these 4 defensemen. The only difference was Jason Smith was on my first team. Matthias Ekholm wasn't on my list. I had Oscar Klefbom on my list.
Instead of Ekholm?
Instead of Ekholm, and I didn't have Pronger. For me, my thing was you're looking for guys who at different points kind of really represented the Oilers and stood out over the last 25 years. And for Pronger, does he, when you think of the last 25 years, as much as 06 was great and he was a big part of that, does he represent any other part of being an Oiler? Is he one of the first players that comes to mind when you think of the Edmonton Oilers over the last 25 years?
Yeah, he's connected to one of the most iconic moments in Oilers playoff history outside of hoisting the cup, and that's scoring a penalty shot goal as a defenseman, waving off everyone else on the ice saying, I got this. The Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, the reason I went with Klefbom is because he played almost 400 games. It's 6th on the list in terms of defensemen in the last 25 years, and he had big playoff moments himself. He scored that big goal. He scored 2 big goals against San Jose. Was a part of the team that brought us out of the decade of darkness. Ended up playing in even more playoff runs in the weird kind of COVID bubble years before he retired. So I had Oscar Klefbom on my team over Matthias Ekholm, just purely based off longevity. Like Ekholm, he's barely played 100 games now. now as an Oiler.
I know, but once again, impact to the roster. And do not take any of this commentary as slighting Oscar.
No,
Klefbom.
totally.
I
No.
love it.
And I'm not slighting Matthias Ekholm either.
I want him back right now. I wish he could still play for us. But the impact Ekholm has brought to the lineup, like that has been a complete turning point in the Oilers' journey.
Tyson Berry, anyone?
Maybe on the Flames
Justin
quarter
Schultz?
century team. Chelsea.
Tyson Berry did lead the NHL in points by defenseman.
I mean,
And
But that's why-
he didn't receive a Norris
Facts.
vote.
But that is why I didn't have like Pronger and those guys. To me, I went with some form of longevity, which brings me to who I think is the biggest snub on this list. Dwayne Rollison, okay, played a lot of games for the Oilers, had the playoff run, didn't play in the Stanley Cup final or played one game in the Stanley Cup final. Not his fault,
almost a full one.
but he gets in, sure. Tommy Salo, most amount of games played by an Oilers goalie in the 25-year stretch, so I understand that. 12 playoff games. To me, Stuart Skinner had to be. If you were putting Bouchard and on this list, and if you're putting Ekholm on this list, Stuart Skinner's on the list. Most games played in the playoffs by an Oilers goalie in the last 25 years. Went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. I thought Stuart Skinner deserved to be on there.
Isn't Tommy Salo, like, doesn't he have the most wins by a goalie since 2000?
He does.
As an Oiler?
Yeah, and most games.
I feel like that warrants.
A little bit.
Yeah, I think
sure.
that. I
just felt like Ekholm.
Isn't he at like 2.2 goals against average, something like that?
2.48.
That's unreal. I don't know. Like, I totally get the argument. I think that if you can only pick one goalie, two goalies, right? Like, I feel like Rollison getting there with the team that he had as
Once
well.
again, we squeaked in like that Rolson Pronger effect. Like we squeaked in like last game of the season into the playoffs, and then took out the President Trophy and retired Steve Yzerman Detroit Red Wings in the first round.
It's a hell of an argument because Skinner, like you said, went to the Cup final last year with this team, and he's only 26. He's done great, but I would have Salo, and I think they did right on this. There was a lot of debate, and I was listening to the radio on the way in.
Wow, that's
The big program.
Were you in a museum? Or?
Yeah, I just started to wheel it. Sean Horkoff. Like, the debate on Sean Horkoff making this team, I thought was very interesting. Like, I think he was a lock. I thought there was no doubt in my mind he was going to make it.
There were people who were they putting in ahead of him?
It's the contract.
Well,
Yeah.
There's still some trauma
there was the conversation of I think it was around the contract, but like if you have Pronger in for 1 year, like does Doug Waite get in for 1 year? He played 1 year, and it was 2001. He had 90 points.
Sean Horkoff had the second most games
I
played
agree.
amongst Oilers forwards.
I think he's underrated for what he actually was for this team.
Yeah,
And also too, like the Oilers were terrible for a lot, most of
it's
this
not
quarter.
Sean Horkoff's fault that
Yeah.
he had to be our 1C.
No.
It's just he should have been our 2C.
Yeah.
We just didn't do the things to have a proper 1C. And in that position, he did a good job.
One day we should do the third team.
Like, at the end of the day, who cares? This is just
Yeah.
more
It's
for
just a
like
fun
debate
thing.
and
Yeah,
conversation.
Yeah.
It's a
and
fun
that's why-
idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I like the debate that comes from it, for sure. But like, at the end of the day, like nothing. Who cares?
So to close out, if you had to make one change to either team, who would you make, Jay?
Salo out, Skinner in.
Okay. On the second team?
I put Skinner on my first team.
Well, I'd have Bouchard off the first team
I think I might
for
too.
Jason Smith. And Nurse, I'd also have. I'd also rethink probably Ekholm for Nurse on that team. And then when it comes to the big three, I love the Nuge. Like I don't know how they're looking at this positionally, but like you could have done like a Nuge Hemsky swap.
Yeah, I think they got all the players right.
Yeah.
Besides, I think Pronger should have been on this team.
Also, just for the chaos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, since this is a nothing burger award, like why not a little chaos?
The voters next quarter.
Davin over in the YouTube chat, which is brought to you by our friends at Odd Company Brewing and the all-new Nation Beer, a crisp, clean lager crafted not just for game day, but for every day. 2 locations in Edmonton, Ritchie, and downtown, or go to liquorconnect.com. Find the liquor store nearest you that carries Nation Beer, everyday lager. Davin says do an all-botched development team.
Ooh, we would probably have the best one.
Schultz and Petrie,
Oh,
bang,
big time.
killer blue line.
You could say Devan Dubnyk.
Okay, and that brings me to Dubnyk's going to pop on the show right away, and not to whatever do the age thing, but like I was pretty young when he was an Oiler, and I went back doing my research for this interview, and all I really remember is the end. It was like, okay, they had to trade Devan Dubnyk because whatever.
You have to.
Because you have to.
They had to.
Because
You have to trade Jeff Petrie because you have to.
Because you have to. He had a .920 save percentage one year. His first 3 seasons as, call it the starter or the 1A, 1B of the Edmonton Oilers, .916, .914, and .920. And they stunk all 3 of those years.
We would kill for that. That means we were getting caved.
I guess, but like...
Well, we were.
Yeah. And then I always just had the recollection of like, God, the Oilers traded him, and then he came out of nowhere to win a Vezina trophy. And it was like, nope, he was a great goalie. The Oilers were just very stupid.
He just needed to be on a decent team.
Yeah. That's crazy,
Second
man.
of darkness is real.
So he's on the Botched team because that should have been your franchise goalie.
Hundy. You can also say Jason Arnott to some degree. Like, he did perform, but we let him go. And I know it was probably more money than anything, and then he had a rock star career after that.
So Yakupov's probably on the list as well.
Did we botch that?
That's actually a good point,
I don't think we botched that.
Because some other people are
also saying Puljujärvi, because I don't think we botched that either.
Yeah, people are saying like Rob Schremp and stuff, and that's where I was going to go. Is like, did we botch Rob Schremp? Did we botch like who are the
That's
forwards?
An interesting one.
Who are the
Did
forwards?
We botch Linus Omark?
No. Who are the forwards that went on to have like really good careers elsewhere? That you're like, damn, how'd the Oilers let that guy go?
Taylor Hall.
Won a Hart Trophy.
Won an MVP.
Yeah.
He's got to be on there.
Yeah.
Broberg, Holloway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Like we didn't botch Holloway's development. But
the thing,
oh, God, I would love him.
They had so many forwards, like at the time when they were getting all these picks, all those forwards were playing and playing for a long time.
Yeah.
Like Hall and Eberle were both really good here. I wouldn't say they botched their development. No?
Oh, that's fair.
They were the best 2 players. Piavi had 1 season or 1 exhibition game and then did nothing else. Maybe he's on the list. The forwards are actually kind of hard to pick.
Lance Kane is in a $5 super chat for our friends at the Ben Stelter Foundation. Dubnyk was a good goalie in spite of the Oilers. I like that. We forget we drafted him at a time we didn't even have a farm team, which that is crazy. Those were the real dark years. Like when you had the weird hybrid thing going on. Like Dubnyk, when he started his career, was playing games in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton.
Played 53 games in the ECHL.
Yeah,
because we didn't have a team, right?
Yeah, that's what Lance just said.
Oh. Sorry, I'm thinking about other botched players. He's going down a deep rabbit hole.
Cogliano as a forward on the botched development
that's a
team.
good one.
Did not need to let him go.
No, definitely not let him go.
Cogliano's a good pick.
Gagne? No, not Gagne.
No, not Colt. Definitely not Colton Tubert.
Colton Tubert.
Do you remember when Tubert came in and they're like 3 top defensive prospects with Tubert, Alex Plant, and Taylor Chorney? And we were like, surely these guys are going to turn out.
You know what? You could make a case for Taylor Chorney. Because he had a long career after us.
Went on to a really good career, yeah.
Won a Stanley Cup?
With St. Louis or with the Caps?
Yeah, I think it was the Caps.
Yeah.
All right. Like I said, it's a very loaded show today, so there is a lot for us that we need to get to. So I'm going to do my best to keep this thing on the rails, guys, and let's move away from this conversation. Maybe this is something we pick up on real life. That's a very real life conversation.
Because like my brain is just turning on this right now.
Let's get into a giant question for our friends over at Sherwood Ford. The Giant Nation Valet Service is here, and we got some exciting stuff. We can't say anything today, but coming later on Monday, stay tuned because we are juicing up Nation Valet Service, and it's already
rolling the dice. What?
That's a good tease.
Oh,
it's already a tremendous service. They will come pick up your vehicle wherever you are in the Edmonton area, drive it back to the dealership for you, perform the routine maintenance, and then drive your vehicle right back to your home, your office, wherever you are. Great stuff from Sherwood Ford the Giant. Your giant question. Yesterday, we got the news. Brandon Saad walking away from $5.4 million and saying, damn it, I want to be a free agent. That's Stan Bowman's boy. Remember, he once traded Artemi Panarin for Brandon Saad. So your giant question, do you think the Edmonton Oilers will/should sign Brandon Saad?
The will is almost a certainty, given the bridge and connection between both player and GM. But I want to just take a step back. I'm surprised, and I really like what he's doing here. He's on the back nine of his career. obviously established vet, has won cups, still a capable NHLer, and he's just betting on himself to like build up his resume and wants to move to a winner.
He scored 26 goals last year.
Exactly. Still effective. And his season so far isn't terrible. What, 7 goals this year?
The only argument I would have here is we're getting older, and is he maybe not a little redundant? Is Brandon Saad not Kasperi Kapanen? Is Brandon Saad not... He's different than Jeff Skinner, but like, again,
I would take Saad over Skinner.
Yeah, I mean, in the role you need him for, sure.
Yes.
But is he not Corey Perry to an extent, right? Like
faster Corey Perry.
Yeah, sure.
Faster Corey Perry, for sure. Not saying that he's lightning fast.
If you are going to sign Brandon Saad, whatever the cap it is, whatever, who's going on waivers tomorrow when you sign Brandon Saad?
I know.
Like, you're not waiving Jeff Skinner.
Well,
you can't. He has a full no-movement.
Correct. You can't waive Jeff Skinner.
It's Noah Philp.
Well, and also potentially your favorite player, Janmark.
Do you think they would waive Janmark?
I don't know.
I don't.
For Brendan Saad, what would you do?
They're putting Janmark on the second line some days.
Again, I love Janmark, but...
I love Janmark in his role tonight as a fourth-line player.
Over Philip?
I think Philp will go
Janmark, you got the wheels turning for me, Jay. Janmark was okay as a centerman. So is he your 4C, and you have a fourth line of Janmark, Saad, and Perry?
I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that
not bad.
Noah Philp...
That's now a scoring threat.
Yeah. I don't think it's a coincidence Philp skated on the fourth line left wing yesterday. I really don't. The more I've thought about it, like... Why would they do that? Why would they put the winger Janmark as a center and their center on the wing? Brandon Saad wasn't coming in. Bouchard made a good tweet yesterday of just saying the competition, like against elite competition, Saad is not the guy anymore. But when he's kind of down the lineup, he's just better than them. I think like 61% of his production is against like lower
as a
opposition.
Bottom 6 player, he is in the top echelon. Now, if we're trying to build a Stanley Cup roster, and remember the acquisition of the cost of this is 0.
But we all know it's coming in at like.
But do we?
I don't know.
Just finish this year?
The Oilers. What Ken Holland say? What do you want me to do? Get him for free? The Oilers would be like, listen, he's got to recoup some of the money. Got to help him out. Can I read to you, Liam? Because I think you might have been onto something reading between the practice lines.
Okay.
From Bob Stauffer the night before the mutual termination.
Okay.
No. And I won't even do my Bob Stauffer impression because he can still beat me up, and I'm scared of him.
Why? You have one?
If I need it, I can go there.
Okay.
Here's what Bob said the night before the mutual termination of Brandon Saad. He said, if anybody can relate to the Prince Alberts and the Eries and major junior hockey at an NHL level, it's fans in Edmonton because not everybody's wanted to come here. Well, now a lot of them want to come here, including the guy that was waived today. Anyways, I digress. Come on, Bob.
Prince Alberts and Eries. Very interesting.
I'm just saying, if Bob's dropping that the night before the guy gets mutually terminated...
I mean, he in the last 3 years, for 2021, he had 24 goals, 19 goals, 26 goals, and 7 goals this season. So by my calculations, that's about 66 goals.
By my calculations.
I think.
All right.
I think that's wrong,
Allegedly.
actually.
So,
no, that's
okay, well,
76 goals.
Let's pretend the three of us are...
10 goals.
Yeah, there you go.
Amazing.
Let's pretend the three of us are one brain and it's Stan Bowman's. There is a 1 year, $1 million deal. Brandon Saad says, I'll come to Edmonton for it. You do it?
Yes.
You do it?
1 million prorated?
Prorated.
Like in the sense of...
I don't know how prorated contracts work, but sure.
Like cap hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're doing it.
Yeah.
All right.
Would you not... Okay, you have to remove kind of the people side of this, even though there's a big people component. Would you want Brandon Saad in your bottom 6?
A guy who wants to win a Stanley Cup so bad that he gives up $5.4 million? Hell yeah. Why not?
So then who cares who has to get waived? Because is he an upgrade to your bottom 6?
Yes.
Well, then you're building it. Then it's...
Right.
What are we talking about?
The last time...
Get your Saad jersey.
The last time Brandon Saad scored 10 or less goals in the NHL in a season was a 2012-13 season. Every single year since then, he has scored 15 or more goals.
Yeah, he'll score 10 goals with us to finish the season.
Corey Perry.
Okay, we got to get to our first guest of the day.
Corey Perry.
First guest of the day. Hey, do you want to help the Oilers pay for Brandon Saad's prorated contract? The Surface Big Share contest is now in full swing, and it's your chance to win $1 million just by saving money. You can help get Brandon Saad in an Oilers jersey.
Sign it over to him.
Maybe Brandon Saad himself is going to be entering this contest. Anyone can enter by becoming a member and saving with Service. Every $500 you save gets you 5 entries into the Service Big Share contest. Contest ends April 30th, 2025. Skill test required for rules. Visit service.ca/win. Very excited to welcome in former Oilers netminder Devan Dubnyk to the program. Devan, how's it going, man? Thanks for popping on.
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
I see your hat. Tough week for our Buffalo Bills, hey?
Yeah, we don't have enough time to get into that.
Good. You know what? I'm happy you don't want to get into it because I really don't either. I've been driving to work in silence all week just thinking about it. But anyways, let's get into the hockey talk here a little bit. We were just doing our little debate on Brandon Saad. What do you make of him as a potential fit on the Oilers?
I think it's a great fit. I listened to you guys a little bit talk about it, but this is a veteran guy who knows how to win. He knows how to play in playoffs. He can contribute in different ways, but you guys talking a lot about his goal scoring ability, and he has that, and he scored in the playoffs in the past, and he knows what it takes to get it done. He's a great presence. He's quiet, but he's that veteran presence that's gonna keep guys calm in tense situations, and just a good piece to add to a team that's now been as close as one goal away from winning a Stanley Cup. If he's wanting to come there and the deal makes sense, which I'm sure if that's what he wants, then he'll make it make sense. I think it's a no-brainer.
Speaking of this current iteration of the Oilers, I mean, there's a handful of hot topics around the team right now. Evan Bouchard's one of them, and the goaltending's always one in this city. What are kind of your thoughts on Stuart Skinner's first half of the season? I'm in the camp that, hey, he was thrust into a role, a legit workhorse 1A starter kind of role, very early in his career without getting to kind of properly grow into it. And the result of that is we're going to get some growing pains on the fly. I've always preached patience with him. There's some people who say too inconsistent to be a legit starter on a Stanley Cup contender. What have you thought of his first half? And I guess even like a bigger picture, like what have you thought of the way he's developed over the last 2 years here?
Well, I think you had good perspective on it. It's a learning curve because he is learning as he goes, and he was thrown into that situation. He's got tons of great tools. Obviously, he's a big guy. He plays conservative. He moves well. And, this is something that guys just have to deal with playing in Edmonton. When you have McDavid and Draisaitl and these guys that are putting up highlights and points every single night, if they're not winning every single night, it's going to go back to the goaltending. That's just the way it is. So that's just something that he's, I'm sure, has continued and is going to continue to learn how to deal with as he goes, and I get I don't know about frustration is the right word, but the concern from Oilers fans because they have this great team that was right there last year. But guess what? He was right there last year. He was part of that team. He went through some huge dips in playoffs to where they started Pickard over him to give him a break. But what did he do? He came back and he thrived from there, and that's something that he now has in his toolbox for experience going forward. I mean, this is a guy that was one win away from a Stanley Cup. And so he's had the experiences, the ups and downs in playoffs, and he's still young. He's still such a young kid. I think, potentially the concern, I don't like talking about this because I love Pickard and he's a great teammate and he works his butt off and he's a good NHL goalie, but it's that there's not that you look at teams that have, 1As and 1Bs, and he's not that, just where he is in his career. So I think with Oilers fans, and they're looking, if Skinner's not at the top of his game and it's not there, then it's over for them is what they have in their mind. So I think that's a little bit where the concern is as well, is people wanting that combination of a guy that if there is a slip, that there's a guy that can take over there. And that's also a difficult thing for Skinner to have to work through when you do have that onus on you as you are the guy. And if you're not the guy, then it's going to be, people are going to look at it as a difficult run to the Stanley Cup if Skinner is not there. So I think it's just something that he's going to have to deal with. But this is, again, a guy who was one win away from the Stanley Cup. So there's no reason to think with the experience in that group that he can't get there again.
the goalie coach is always a hot topic in Edmonton for some, whatever reason it may be. But I'm curious to know what the relationship is like between a goalie and a goalie coach throughout the season, and how much influence they have on your game and adjustments that'll be made as the season goes on, or does a lot of that stuff happen at the start of the season in camps?
It's definitely an ongoing process, and I think it's good to have familiarity and with a goalie coach and knowing the player and the person and how to deal with and coach a guy. What things do you say? What things do you work on at certain times? What things do you just let go for now? Is it more, do you need to sit down and talk, or do you need to get on the ice and work through things? And those are all things that, as a relationship with the goalie and the coach, that you form over time. And obviously that's been there, and they're probably very comfortable with each other in that. And that's kind of where the goalie coach comes in, is knowing what the goalie needs at the time from a player and person perspective.
What are your thoughts on, I guess I'll just go to the other hot button thing, on a guy like Evan Bouchard? Listen, there have been glaring mistakes this year. I think there's undoubtedly that high-end offensive talent there. We saw it in the playoffs. We saw it basically all throughout last year, but some growing pains this season as well. He's in line for what could be a massive, massive raise. This is a guy who could be $9 million plus on a long-term deal. But your thoughts on a young defenseman like that? And I mean, hey, to even tie it back into your time in Edmonton, I know the team was in a different spot, but you had gifted young offensive defensemen in front of you who kind of went through the similar growing pains that we're watching Bouchard go through.
Yeah, and there are going to be those growing pains as an offensive player, because you can't just go out there and settle in to play to not make mistakes. He's there to create offense, to make high end plays, to get the puck into some other players' hands, to make high end plays, and to be a big part of the power play. So you can't just ask him to go out there and play and not make mistakes. There's going to be mistakes that happen, and as he grows, he's gonna learn, when not to make those, and what plays work and what don't. And again, another younger player who's still learning, and that the lack of patience with the learning is understandable, because they have such a great team right now, and they are close, and they are looking to win right now. But he is a good player, and the benefit for him, that I think what hurt guys as I was coming up, and we had so many young guys that were working through, but we were losing in every way you could lose, and that I think mentally over time hurts players, because they don't learn how to win. They're not learning through winning; they're learning through losing. And fortunately for Bouchard, he's able to learn and grow in a winning environment, and learn these things, but still learn what it takes to go out and win games and be part of a winning team. So I think that's really beneficial for him.
I know one person who was doing their job during that time, and that was you.
Thank you.
Honestly, we were looking at like the numbers, and I made this joke earlier, but not to talk about how young I am, but like I was 14 to 16 during those years when you were here, and all I remember is the end. You were traded away, and then you went on to have a great career elsewhere. And I went back and looked, and it was like, holy shit, 920 save percentage, 914 save percentage, it was just like, you put up unbelievable numbers on bad teams. What the fuck? You got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, on behalf of Oilers Nation, I just want to say sorry. You deserve better here, and I'm so happy that you had the career that you had, because, damn, you did a good job for us, and it just didn't go noticed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's it always comes back on the goalie regardless, but no, and you know what? It's great. Even coming back to Edmonton, working the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, the fans and the people there are they're so kind and with their words, and appreciative, and it's a tough time when you're not winning. Obviously, they're trying to make moves and change things up, and that's the way it was. But I'm certainly grateful for my time there. As tough as it was in the win-loss column, I learned a ton as a player, and certainly a big part of my career.
If I gave you 100 guesses for what our YouTube chat is currently talking about, and they rarely ever stay on topic, you wouldn't guess it, but we were talking about Devan Dubnyk memories and all of that, and everyone keeps talking about the Atco ad you did with
Capital
the hard
Power.
Oh, God.
Capital Power with the hard hat and the goalie gloves on.
No.
You were
Etched in Oilers lore.
Hey, I said I'd let it go. You guys got to let that go too. You know what's so bad about it is that like, you think of, like, obviously you get paid a little bit for that. I mean, it was like nothing. Like, it was not even close to worth the ridicule I got for this.
I think everyone's talking about it in a loving way. I'm
Okay,
surprised
I'll
you're getting
take it.
ridiculed. I thought this was funny.
Okay. Well, maybe it's just my teammates that ridiculed me for it, but I won't forget that one. That's for sure.
That is good. Great work.
That was pretty funny. Yes. Well, you got to get the audio is the best part. I was didn't exactly. I didn't pursue an acting
that far.
Fair.
Did not pursue an acting career.
We did get
that.
one comment asking. Dangerous Wade said you always had the best masks. What went into like designing a mask for you? How like long of a process was it? Did you just have someone who'd like spit out three to you? How involved were you in making those?
I was actually pretty involved. I know that's different for a lot of guys. Some guys don't really care that much. They just want the painter to kind of create what they have. I enjoyed being a part of it. I was trying to, like this one that you're showing right now, that was kind of a combination. I had a Billy Ranford, like full on replica Billy Ranford, which was when we were bringing back the older jerseys like that. So this was kind of a take on that, like a newer age take of the Billy Ranford, because I just loved the way that looked on the forehead. But I liked kind of allowing the painter, because being the artist, I would give them what I was looking for and then let them kind of give me their ideas, and sometimes say, no, that's not what I want. This is more what I'm looking for. But there was a lot of give and take and going back and forth. And I really enjoyed doing the masks and having a lot of input. And one thing with the masks that I loved to do was try to have something that looked cool from far away and then also had aspects of it that were cool when you got up close. Because a lot of guys' masks, they're really cool, but they're so intricate and detailed that if you're watching from the stands, you don't even really know what it is. It's a mask on their head. And then if you see it up close, you're like, wow, that's unreal. Look at all these details, but you can't tell if you're watching a game. So I like to kind of have a combination of both, where there was some general design that looked cool from far away, and then when you got close up, there's some pretty cool details as well.
Last one I got for you. You mentioned coming back to town for the Stanley Cup final last year. So close, one win away for the Oil. Throw on your analyst cap for us before we let you go. What's this team missing this year? What is sort of the final piece that they could add before the deadline that you think could put them over the top? And is there even maybe a specific name out there on the trade market that you look at and you're like, that's the guy?
Well, it's such a difficult situation because of the cap. I mean, they're paying guys a lot of money, and that's where, Brandon Saad, if you get a guy that comes in that can contribute like he is, and he's willing to take a deal that they can put under the cap, they have to find guys, and that's not easy to do. But now this situation has presented itself where there's an opportunity to get a guy for next to nothing. I know you're saying with the prorated, it is prorated both pay and cap hit, so the cap hit would be quite small, from my understanding, to bring a guy like that in, and you don't. I mean, it's like anything. It's almost like Toronto a little bit with the first round exits, and then they're constantly right there. I mean, they're one win away, and winning in the NHL is so hard. So it's like, was the experience of last year, was that the piece? With how Florida did it, was that the piece that they're missing? I think they've done a good job of constantly. There's always going to be movement away from your top core guys, and Edmonton always seems to do a good job of finding players that fit into the system. And maybe it's just that experience is that last piece that they got last year, and they're going to go in with a mission right from the first round. They know most of the guys in there, including Skinner, they know what it takes and the different ups and downs of a long playoff run. And they're gonna take that and be focused right from the get-go.
You're trying to you're getting into media. You've done some stuff with NHL Network as well. What else are you up to these days?
Just a lot of kids coaching. I got 3 boys that are all in hockey. My oldest, this is his first year playing goal, so that's been a lot of fun, kind of navigating that and watching him grow and how to separate the coach and the dad side of it. But it's been a lot of fun doing that, and so that's been keeping me really busy. Yeah, I enjoyed my time at the NHL Network. Unfortunately, it didn't work out this year, but maybe something to look into down the road. But I enjoy just being part of the game and talking about it with you guys and things like that. So I like to try to continue doing that and just really taking the time to enjoy the kids at the ages they're at. They're 11, 9, and 7, so they're pretty great ages for kids and times in their lives that they're going to remember me being around as well.
All three of them going to be goalies, or is there one black sheep?
Well, the youngest is not. We're not letting him even look at the goalie equipment. He's a good little player, so we're gonna just let him do his thing. And our 9-year-old, is now floating out playing goal as well. So I don't know. I keep kind of squashing it. It keeps coming back up. So I don't even want to think about it right now. We'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Goaltending in the blood. Well, we really appreciate your time, man. Open invite. Whenever you want to come back and talk Oilers, you can come back and talk Oilers.
I would love that.
There you go.
Awesome.
Devan
Thank
Dubnyk.
you.
Thanks, Devan.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
There you go. Devan Dubnyk, former Oilers goaltender, joining us on the show. That was great. I love that you got the pictures of the commercial.
Yes.
That was beautiful work.
I wanted to talk about it, but he had to go through so much during that time.
I know. Like I said, he got the short end of the stick here.
And right, he's right. Like, if we played the audio, I'd be doing him a little slam because
I don't remember the commercial that well. I just
I
know
remember
it existed.
now that you've seen it, that I've seen the pictures a little bit more, but
Yeah.
yeah.
oh yeah,
I remember the Eberle one more than anything. The banking one, wasn't it?
oh yeah. Him was the him and
Giordano,
thing.
yeah.
We were connected to that promo, that ugly sweater promo.
Oh yeah, because we had a bunch of Eberle and Giordano head cutouts at the office.
we
And
pulled off a stunt that pissed off a lot of people.
us? No.
Oh,
All right, let's do our game day betting challenge for Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
why you're doing that?
I forgot to put in the thing, Aaron.
Oh, the updated.
Yeah, but we all lost.
Oh, we all lost. Okay, so then we can save ourselves the embarrassment.
Yeah.
All right, let's get
David
into.
didn't go supernova. Why?
I know.
Why
Well,
didn't he go supernova?
he was
Well,
creating
actually came
chances.
pretty close.
I know.
Bouchard,
Well,
no, Bouchard.
Draisaitl post.
Yeah, that would have hit my bet.
I know.
Well, did you have the last game? I had Dry 2 points.
I just had the 2 points for each Dry and
yeah.
McDavid and the puck line win. So there was, when Hyman hit that crossbar right before the Perry goal,
yeah.
that would have cashed it. Because it was Dry to
Damn.
McDavid to Hyman, and we
we
would have
were
been
pretty
good.
unlucky.
All right, let's get to our picks for tonight as Edmonton takes on Detroit. I'm up first, a little shot prop parlay here. Nuge on the line with McDavid and Connor Brown, so I think Nuge will be used as a bit more of a shooter. He was on a really nice run of hitting his prop, cooled off a bit, bounced back for Nuge. Hyman on his own line. Someone's got to shoot the puck there as well. 3 shots, plus 350. Threes are wild. I love it. Give me the shot prop parlay. The money line, they're minus 260 tonight. It's so dumb.
I know.
My turn?
Go for it.
Nuge assist. Plus 140. I think that's a great one. He is, since the turn of the calendar year, only Draisaitl has more points than Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Wow.
Nuge hot.
Nuge is
Nuge
hot.
plus
When you're
140 is
hot,
a
you're
good number there.
It is.
And again, on McDavid's wing still.
Well, I was going to do Nuge point parlayed, believe it or not, with 2 shots. And it was only
risk.
plus, I know, only plus 120. So that felt nice.
Jay, what do you got?
What do I have again? What's wrong with this?
No.
Draisaitl to score. What does Draisaitl do? Score. Okay, done.
Okay.
Move on. What does he need to do to score? Shoot the puck.
Yeah.
Over 2.5. Nuge, so hot right now.
Yeah.
Over 1.5 shots. Plus 575. Oh, and McDavid 2 points. That's just the byproduct of those 3 things happening.
Yeah, that
is destiny.
That is a lock. You didn't want to just go to Draisaitl 2 shots instead of 2.5? I don't know what that line would even be. Maybe only plus 400.
Probably make that bet minus 110 somehow.
Probably. Yeah, this will probably hit.
I'm digging up, not down, Liam.
You are. Well, I don't know if you're digging up yet.
Got to hit one of these. Don't worry, there's going to be a big dog I hit this year that's 20 plus to 1. There's
And
always that one.
you'll be right back in the mix. But here's the thing: the season's already
We're running out of time.
Yeah, you only have 30 games left, Jay.
We are on the 13th hole of the proverbial
We are,
18-hole
yes.
season.
Is that? I wonder actually what the math would be on that. 50 divided
Probably
by
12.
Okay.
If I'm being honest. But
All right, again, Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show brought to you not just by Sherwood Ford the Giant, but also Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, home of the $50 bi-weekly ATV. They can get you on a boat next summer for as low as $105 bi-weekly, whether it is motorcycles, quads, e-bikes, or boats. They got everything you need, from the gear to the accessories to even the service. Hockey fans helping hockey fans out at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. We're going to be joined by our boy Jason Demers. He's here.
Oh.
Well, then, another ad read. Let's get to the Star Mechanical Guest Line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca. Residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. They do it all, and they do it well. Shout out to Star Mechanical. Shout out to our boy Jason Demers, who joins us every week on the show, former NHLer. Oh, and a different backdrop. You never have the same backdrop twice.
No, this is I call this my prison backdrop. It's looking like nothing on the walls, a little drab, a little dreary, but it's a nice day because it's John Klingberg day today.
How do we feel? How do we feel about this? Mark Spector was talking to him, and Klingberg said he had double hip surgery at 18, double hip surgery at 21, and now the hip resurfacing surgery. He says Klingberg has never played in the NHL pain-free, and he feels like a teenager again right now. Like, that maybe gets me a little bit excited.
I played with him in Dallas and can attest that the whole time he played in Dallas, when he was having those big years, we were on that playoff run, he was always in pain. And we had a discussion. I mean, a lot of the guys with him after that year, that's when he signed his long deal. And he was like toying with the idea of not signing long term, but then was noting to us that, hey, I don't know how long my hips are going to go and how long they're going to last. And we were like, take that money and just see how long you can hang on. So, for him to find some sense of pain-freeness and a little bit of freedom in his hip should make people excited, because if he gets to 80-90% of what he was with no pain, I mean, it's a great puck mover that you're adding to this team already on fuego.
He's only 32.
He is only 32.
Yeah, not that old.
Can I throw you, though, the tweet? I think it was Jordan Schmaltz or whatever who threw it out.
Oh, yeah.
Who was like, hey, if you get a good 15 games from John Klingberg, do you look at trading Evan Bouchard? That seems insane to me.
That's nuts. And I love Swish, is his nickname, but I was like, that's nuts. I know that's going to be the most interesting deal for the Oilers, is this Bouchard stuff, but I don't think, I think you can keep Klinger on a low-end deal for a while, especially if he has a good year. You could, because there's not enough of a sample size. So if he wants to stay and let's say they win a cup or they go far, you can still keep him on a sweetheart deal next year as well, if he does well and performs, which, we'll see tonight. I mean, it's going to be a good test tonight against a team that's playing well and has some speed. So we're going to see how he does defensively as much as he does offensively.
I definitely have to continue this Bouchard conversation. It'd be
Why?
off-brand if I did not.
Why?
And this is not a question for you two clowns. This is for a person with NHL
Spicy today, I like it.
So say we get through the season, regardless of outcome, hopefully we're hosting the Cup. We move past that. Bouchard's asking for 10 or 11 million a year. What do we do?
That's tough. If they win a cup, he'll have earned it, I think. And he'll have, because they're not winning a cup with him not playing and playing well and putting up numbers. So I think he earns it. Now, the question is, if they get to the conference finals or get to the Stanley Cup finals and don't win, then that's where it's going to get interesting with this Oilers team, because they're still right there. The window's still now. It's still going to be next year. Anytime you got Connor and Leon on deals, and Connor, you have to go for it. So then what happens afterwards? And then that's, I guess, where the question comes in of how effective was Bouch and all this, and can you afford to pay him that money and keep some semblance of a good team on the ice?
But if it's at that level, you have to maybe think about it, right?
Of course, there's gonna be.
You sign him for 10 to 11 million bucks a year.
100%.
I don't think he takes 11. I don't think he needs 11. I don't even think he'll need 10. I think he's 9.5, and I sign that every day of the week.
Yeah, you look at the crazy thing though is, and why there's a little cause for concern, is what Colorado did with Rantanen. It's like, did they set a precedent there in terms of like, we'll just trade and we'll find somebody else. So we'll see. But I think it's all going to be dependent on this playoff run. Nothing's going to happen this season. This in the regular season. But we're gonna know everything come the end of this year's playoffs, which I think is very exciting.
Yeah, and hey, there is that too. Like
Yeah.
last 2 playoffs, Evan Bouchard, 49 points. Second highest amongst defensemen is Miro Heiskanen with 28. Like Bouchard has 21 more points than any other defenseman has had over the last 2 playoffs. If he does that again, you pay the guy, and you happily pay the guy. Liam?
I was going to say Brandon Saad, obviously a guy whose name has come up in the last 24 hours. Like, what do you make of him as a fit in Edmonton? And this year is obviously just a bit more of a down year than anything for him, right?
Yeah, it's a down year. He's getting older, but you can't deny he's won. You're adding some more experience at no cost and no risk to you. I think it's something that could also benefit. I don't think the Oilers would miss in bringing in a guy like him, because regardless if it works or it doesn't, it's 1 year. It's probably at minimum this year. And this guy's won 2 cups, man, and he understands what it takes to win. He does have speed still. And I think on the bottom 6, anytime you can add a little bit of speed is important. And especially on the lengthy playoff run they're going to have, you want guys that have been shown to be durable. You know, he has shown he can be durable, and he can play a fast game on the wing. So I think it's something that definitely should be considered by the Edmonton Oilers. I just love getting anybody with experience. I just think it's guys in the room with experience that have won. You see how valuable Corey Perry's been. You bring guys like that in if you have a chance. And I'm a big believer in the guys that the older veteran experience guys. And I think it only helps this team. And it's not like he's slow. That's the thing. If it was somebody that was slow, you'd kind of be like, but he's quick. He can still skate.
If you were to sign Saad, night 1 of the playoffs, Evander Kane's back, you're going with a lineup that's McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, Draisaitl, Podkolzin, Arvidsson, Henrique, Connor Brown, Evander Kane, and then you could go Janmark, Perry, Saad as your 4th line.
That is a veterano lineup, and I saw the news of Kane skating, and that's got to make people excited. I mean, they're going to go into the playoffs absolutely deep. Like, it is going to be deep. And right now, without Kaner, they're arguably the best team in the West. You know, categorically, this has been the best team in the West in the last 15, 20 games, night in and night out. You add Kane to that, I mean, holy shit balls, boys.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what the headline of the episode will read.
Do you know, then your 5th line is Jeff Skinner, Noah Philp, Derek Ryan. Like, if someone
Kasperi Kapanen.
Like, if someone gets hurt, like, you have 4 legit players who can step into the lineup, and you'll still be a great team.
And now you look on the back end, you have Stetcher, Brown, you have those guys that are there, guys that have shown they can play this year. And I think you still add somebody else. But now if Klinger shows up, I mean, you are cooking with gas. And then the only thing you got to worry about is making sure the goaltending holds up, which I think Pick's showed last year that he can come in case Skinner, kind of falters a bit. But Skin's been good, man. He's been cooking. This team's – it's one of those things where it's like it's all quiet on the Western Front, and it's almost a little bit unnerving because you're like, God, we're going to go into the playoffs feeling so good, and this might hope it doesn't hurt that much.
Well, I'm not going to think like that. I'm going to choose to be more positive.
I love Canadian. That is the positive. I love Canadian fans because it's like you could feel it where it's like, oh my God, we're doing so well, and it's like, oh my God, we're going to go to the finals. Oh my God, we need to win this one. And I think they just got to keep. I mean, this team looks confident. I have nothing to worry about right now with them, other than running into a super hot goalie. That's the only thing come playoff time. But I said it the last few weeks, like this is just like a ho hum, get everybody across the finish line. If Connor and Leon want to take 20-game suspensions, so just keep them healthy and come back for the playoffs, do it, pay the money, and make sure you're back healthy. You get through 4 nations, and then we're good to go.
Speaking of 4 nations, actually, obviously Alex Pietrangelo isn't going to go for Team Canada now. Who do you think would be a good replacement for him?
Well, I know LA. We've talked about it a lot this year. LA is going to be lobbying for Drew Doughty. That's just a fact because it's like a training camp on steroids. I think the teams that haven't had guys come back from injury probably don't want, I don't think Knobloch wants Bush to go. I just, as much as I think Bush could be a pick, it's just so tough because you look at Cale Makar and he's going to command so much of that offensive side of the puck. you really just need to replace him with a archetype similar to Pietrangelo. And the two guys that jump out to me is Chris Tanev or Drew Doughty if he's healthy. And then, listen, we have to give some love to Mackenzie Weegar. I think Mackenzie Weegar can slot into the spot as well. But like Bouch, I'd love to say Bouch, but I just don't know if he fits into this. Makar's going to play, he's going to play a minute 40 in the power play. And then you want Bouch as a puck mover playing the third pair. I just don't know if that's going to be something that this Team Canada group wants. So it's more I'm thinking through their eyes of what I'm looking at. And then you have Shea Theodore as well to run the power play. So it's like, it's tough. So I just think go with somebody that's similar to Pietrangelo and somebody that can eat minutes, play defensively. And that's like, to me, Doughty jumps out if he's healthy. And, he played 24 minutes last night and looked pretty damn good for being out for 4 months. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think Weegar is my pick. I think he's just a really good, just like plug in.
Yeah.
He's been unreal.
If I'm Team Canada, he's said multiple times in the media that like, I'd love to play and like, I booked a trip to Cabo, but I'll cancel. And that's pretty cool to hear from like a kid that's like, this is a tournament that's cutting into your break time. And he's like, I would love to represent Canada. So I think that's going to go into it. But I would like sneakily looked at that list and was like, man, Chris Tanev would be a sneaky good pickup for this team. He's been arguably the most consistent D-man in Toronto right now. And I just don't know if you want him going in if you're a Maple Leafs fan and getting potentially injured. But yeah, I'm with you. Those are my three. And I think, if you want to lean with the young kid and Mackenzie Weegar, I think he's earned it and done a good job in Calgary.
I have one more.
Okay, one more.
What did you make of the Mark Stone and Miro Heiskanen situation the other day? It's obviously pretty split, and I think it's obvious that Mark Stone didn't mean to do that. But what did you make of the whole incident?
Yeah, Rupe Hintz tripped him. We like isolated a cam, and then he lunges, I think, to get the puck afterwards. Mark Stone, as much as people, he's not liked in the LTIR stuff, and he's considered a rat. He's not diving at knees like that. That's something that it's a career ender. And I know Ray Ferraro, it could be potentially a career ender. I know Ray Ferraro said on the call that he went right over to Jamie Benn and was like, hey, like, I'm not trying to hurt him. And obviously rightfully so, because he probably didn't want Jamie Benn to eat him alive. So smart by him as a business decision, but
as a life decision.
That's life. That's life. But you see it right before Rupe Hintz kind of like trips his skate, and then Mark Stone just lunges, and it's just unfortunate. And, I'm hoping, I never want to see a top defenseman go down, especially that's like on a team that's going for a cup, because, you want to beat the best. And it's always, as a fan, like when I'm watching, obviously if you're playing against Dallas Stars going to the playoffs and he's out for 4 months, you're like, well, great. But you just hope he's okay because he's such a good defenseman. And he makes the league so much better. But the crazier thing about all this, and you could see at the start, Rupe Hintz just touches his foot just enough. Right here, he just grabs his skate. And I don't think he's diving. It's just a straight fall. The crazy thing about Four Nations with this is if you look at like the eligible defensemen for Four Nations on Finland, they only have 11. And of that 11, maybe 5 are like they're good NHL defensemen, and you just lost the best one. So they're like rolling into this tournament very understaffed, and they're like 1 or 2 injuries away from having I might have to get my Finnish passport and get my ass over there maybe. So we'll see.
Yeah, like their best defenseman now is Esa Lindell, who's a really good player, but he's not a number one defenseman.
But Canada's debating Doughty or Weegar, and Finland's like, oh my God, Jani Hakanpää might play.
Yanni, put some tape on. You're coming in. He hasn't been all year. Poor guy. Fuck. Yanni catching strays.
JD, as always, man, it's fun. Thanks for doing this, and we'll chat again next week.
Yeah, see you next week, boys.
Yeah, shitballs. Learn that one. And veterano. Now it's awkward. See you, JD. He said like
Veterino
lineup or something. I don't know. Okay, couple more things to get to here, gentlemen, before we wrap up the show. First off, lineup report for our friends over at Booster Juice. Delicious and nutritious smoothies. Paninis, love those. Liam, what do you love? The protein balls. Chocolate chip, peanut butter. Find a location nearest you by downloading the Booster Rewards app, which also allows you to earn, order, and enjoy your lineup tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Connor Brown. An interesting first line. Connor Brown, anytime goal scorer, anybody?
No.
Okay. Leon Draisaitl with Vasily.
Connor Brown point?
Potentially. That's where I'll dabble. He might get one off his ass and it might go to Nuge on the back post or something.
Leon Draisaitl with Vasily Podkolzin and Victor Arvidsson. Adam Henrique with Jeff Skinner and Zach Hyman. Matthias Janmark with Noah Philp and Corey Perry. We'll see who ends up playing center down there. D pairings tonight. This is an interesting note. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Klingberg, Kulak, Emberson, Chris Knobloch saying Klingberg will play with a handful of different partners tonight. Cool. So I think we're going to see a lot of moving and shaking on the fly. Interesting. Stuart Skinner is going to be your starting goaltender tonight for the Detroit Red Wings, the visitors in this hockey game. Dylan Larkin on the top line with Lucas Raymond and Marco Kasper. Marco Kasper, one of the hottest players in the NHL.
That first line has been unreal.
Unbelievable. They've combined for 15 goals in the last 10 games. Kasper's got 7 of them.
He only has 9 career goals.
Insane.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Yeah, Andrew Kopp with Vlad Tarasenko and Alex DeBrincat, Michael Rasmussen with Christian Fischer and Elmer Soderblom, Joe Valeno with Jonathan Bergen and Tyler Mott. Think they might go 11-7 tonight. Ben Sherratt with Moritz Seider, Simon Edvidson with Albert Johansson. If you're a DFS player, shout out to the daily DFS report with Zach Lang and Brock Sagan. Albert Johansson's been a decent little value play.
Eric, guy?
I don't know, but I know he blocks shots. Eric Gustafson with Justin Hall is the third pairing. Look for Connor McDavid to expose those two this evening.
Yes, please.
And how about the former Oilers? William Lagesson, I think, is expected to be a healthy scratch in this hockey game. So, too bad. But he knows where the press box is at Rogers Place at least. Cam Talbot getting the start tonight for the Detroit Red Wings, our former friend. And the team is coached by Todd McClellan.
You forgot one former Oiler.
Isn't Sean Horkoff in the organization?
He is the GM of Grand Rapids. And also, Eric Gustafson was an Oilers pick.
And Jeff Petrie's hurt.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of former Oilers.
Could have been. A lot of former Oilers. Tarasenko and JT Comfort both missed Monday's game against the Kings because they were sick, but they both traveled with the team, so I'd expect them both to play.
So they got everyone else sick. That's good.
Patrick Kane is likely not to play tonight.
All right.
Load management.
Thank you very much.
He has an upper body injury. One of the 2 injuries in the NHL.
Did he have the resurfacing?
He did.
Yes.
He's known as like the one guy that has come back and been impactful.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I was going to say, since Todd McClellan took over, which was December 26th, Merry Christmas, Derek Lalonde, Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin are both top 10 in league scoring.
Wow. Don't give them power plays.
No. Is this game notes? Can I...
Well, before we get to your game notes, can we quickly get to, because Stuart Skinner's starting again tonight, which is great to see, coming off the birth of his second child, another baby boy for the Skinners. And our friends at Sherwood Ford dug up a pretty interesting game note about that. Let's take a listen.
All right.
Darnell Nurse has been feasting on the Red Wings lately, racking up 8 points in his last 10 games against them. He's like one of the Oilers' PPPVMs, personal point producing vending machine. Insert a puck, get a goal or assist. Let's go Oilers!
Nugent-Hopkins has suddenly transformed into an offensive juggernaut, racking up 5 points in his last 3 games. He's on pace for 25 goals this year. It looks like Ford replaced his skates with Coyote-powered blades.
New baby, no problem for Stu. Skinner has proved that sleep deprivation is no match for a dad's determination. In his first game back, he led the Oilers to a 4-2 victory, and with a .931 save percentage. He probably saw more shots than he got sleep. Let's go Oilers!
That was last time Skinner played his first game after having a baby at a .931 save percentage.
I do remember him saying when he had his first shot, I was like, it's good to go on the road.
Let's get out of here. Liam, you got some more game notes.
Yeah, just one other big one after I rifled off the other ones there. The Detroit Red Wings, like I said, since Lalonde was fired and McClellan came in, have the exact same record as the Oilers. 11-4-1.
Yet they're minus 260.
Yeah, I don't get it. But
and also
they've slid a little bit recently, but still.
Yeah, like
they're doing way better.
They won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
And then they went and
Then they
lost 3 or 4 in a row.
4, yeah, and then they must have won 3 again or something.
They're on a little bit of a heater right
last
now.
night? No, they did
No, I
not.
played last game Monday.
They've won 3 in a row coming
they're
into
well
tonight's
rested.
game.
Yeah, just like the Oil. The other thing was when Lalonde was fired, they were second last in the Eastern Conference. They're now only 2 points out of a playoff spot.
The East is a mess.
So it was coaching.
It would look like that. They also have a top 5 power play. They get a ton of opportunities, almost 3 a game, but they give up just over, I think it's 2.5 penalties a game, and have a 69% on the penalty kill. So you got to take your chances.
With the facts.
There you go, fast
Hitting you
facts.
with the facts. Well,
Not that fast.
Initially,
hard
I
to
think
remember.
you were trying to like guide us to thinking the Red Wings are going to win tonight.
No.
But then that last tidbit on my case back.
And also another one, Maurice Saad scored himself on Monday.
scored on himself.
On himself. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it. Danger at both ends of the ice.
Was that like a...
He literally tipped it past his own goalie, but it wasn't like a shot tip. Like it was like...
A good tip. Like,
yeah,
good tip.
Aaron, if you can somehow find that, I'm sure it's Cider.
Well, I'm a big Mo Sider fan.
I am too. He's so good.
He's so good.
Would you trade Bouchard straight up for him?
Oh, that is the dumbest question I've ever heard. Yes.
Oh my god.
You would not?
No. No, I would not. I think Moritz Seider is a fantastic player, but at the end of the day, Bouch has the upside. He does, Jay.
Maurice Sider has the ability to control a game. To control a game.
Because Detroit need him to control the game.
God.
The others don't need
He
Bouchard to
Did
do
Chris
that.
Pronger need to control the game
Yeah.
all his career? No. He just did because he was good.
But Pronger's significantly better player than both of those guys.
You could argue that Maurice Sider is almost like in the Pronger realm of today's NHL. He blows guys up, blows them up.
He's a good player.
Can move the puck.
Yeah.
Can defend.
They're very different players.
Can wear a bow tie.
Unrelated.
That's very rare.
Unrelated to this, kind of related to this. Can you imagine if Evan Bouchard did what Mort Sider did the other day and scored
on himself
in that fashion? Holy shit, the internet would be great.
Yeah.
Do we have it? Look at this, Jay. He literally just scores on himself.
That's the guy you want?
If Bouchard did that, I would want him traded just to save him.
Go find the highlight of Bouchard
nice cherry
doing that.
pick. Nice cherry pick. How about the pizza that he threw up 4 times this year up the middle from behind the goal line?
What about the game-winning goal to secure the comeback against the Colorado Avalanche? Or the goal against Vancouver in the playoffs that give the Oilers the win in the last minute of the game? Or the overtime winner against Vancouver in the playoffs? Shout out Ian Cole.
I'm not discrediting what he's done for us.
Yeah.
At all.
I just...
The question
That's a
was,
great
would
angle.
you trade Sider for Bouchard? I would.
I would not today. Ask me in 3 years. We'll see.
Let's wrap up the show, boys, with our keys to victory for...
What's Sider's cap hit?
I actually have no idea. They locked him up for a good deal, though, I believe.
Okay. And is this a cap era? Are we in a cap era?
Next season won't matter. The Oilers have Rantanen, Bouchard, McDavid, and Draisaitl.
Well, the way to get Rantanen is to get Sider for Bouchard and open up the cap space.
Okay, Sider's contract, $8.5 million until 2031.
That's a smoking deal.
That is a great deal.
That is a smoking deal.
That is.
You know who's not going to be a smoking deal?
Who's that?
Your boy.
It will be.
Huh.
It'll be a great deal.
I
when he
love
signs.
Bouchard right now. I am stressed out about him and his next deal. That has always been my consistent complaint.
What would you pay him? Like, what would you, if the most you would
It doesn't matter what I
pay
say,
him?
you're going to be offended.
No, I
because
actually
we're
will.
cherry picking one element of his game, and granted, it's good. Right now, it's not good, but
I
we can look
promise
to the
I won't
past
be
and say it's
offended.
good.
I think the most you can pay him is 10. I think they'll
Which
pay
is
him
way
9.5.
too much. Which is still way too much.
So you would pay him 8?
We will, we will look at that contract and be so disappointed in it.
So what would you actually pay him?
It's in the 8s.
Okay.
I'm fine within the 8s. Knowing that the cap's going up.
I don't think it gets there.
I know. That's the whole
that's-
issue. The fact is, they're going to be asking for 10, 11. If they have to pay that, that's not good.
What if it was 9.5?
If it's 9, I could maybe live with it.
Okay. But if the Oilers win the cup and they pay him 9.5, would you care?
What's that?
If the Oilers won and it's 9.5 and the salary cap goes up $9 million,
Yeah.
does 9.5 matter that much?
Yeah, it's like the winning the cup is the biggest variable,
totally.
right? And that's like the toughest component.
And I was looking
But if we want to win multiple cups,
yeah,
a legit number one for 8.5 sounds real nice.
It sounds awesome.
Now I know Yzerman would say no.
He would.
Exactly. Why? Because he's smart.
Or is he just keeping hold of his young defenseman?
Think about it. We got to get Leon another German.
I was looking out of curiosity, and I know Bouchard is not Drew Doughty, but so the LA Kings signed Drew Doughty right out of his ELC for that 8-year deal.
Yeah.
I think it was 7.5 or something like that. That first playoff run, he was unreal. The second year, he had pretty much the same numbers as what Bouchard is on pace for now, and only had like 13 points, and they went to the conference finals. I think it just happens with young defensemen where they go through these loops, and I think Bouchard will have to learn
I'm not
from
even
it.
using this season to discredit him.
Yeah. Ty, anything?
Now, if he is a no-show in the playoffs,
Then yes,
that's
that
another story.
changes a lot.
It does change a lot. I'm glad you're willing to admit that.
Well, Demers said
But
it too. Like
I'm not saying he's going to. I hope he elevates for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he struggled in moments this season, but the idea of trading him is just something I couldn't ever consider. Which is
Randon got traded.
Which was
And
idiotic.
you could argue right now in a very short sample size that they won the deal because Natchez is a point machine right now for the Avalanche. Point machine.
I'll give you I'll give you another.
Did I not put the small sample size caveat, which is also the dojo that Liam likes to operate in?
Did you see the stat where the 4 players in that trade, Rantanen, Hall, Jack Drury, and Natchez, all got their first point against the Rangers?
Poor Rangers. Drury also has 2 goals.
Well, sustainable.
Well, maybe it is now. Maybe they just need to be liberated and play the Nate Dog.
Another question. Do you think the St. Louis Blues miss Alex Pietrangelo?
That's the dumbest question ever. Of course. Why not? It's
So
Alex Pietrangelo.
why would they have not signed him? Like, they should have signed him. He wanted to stay there. But they moved on because they didn't want to pay him.
Yeah.
So
Different.
it's the same.
They're not the same type of defenseman. If you think
But with
that the way Pietrangelo plays hockey is the same as Bouchard, you are Looney Tunes.
I am not Looney Tunes.
Okay.
I don't think that. My point is, you have a great player, and you don't let those guys go. And I think
But
that's
you
why.
have to pay him as a number one, and he's not your number one.
But he's also only 25.
But the things that need to elevate to be a number one, those tools aren't in the toolkit, or they're just lower grade tools. Like those skills, those you have those. You don't teach those.
Yeah, and
all offense, first pass, like driving a power play. Yes,
he's got to clean it up defensively with just his
but
egregious
a number
turnovers.
one can defend, like a legit number can defend. That's why Pietrangelo can run a power play,
Yeah.
and he's a prick.
He's not Pietrangelo, that is for sure.
Yeah.
But my point was, it's just like if you have these great players,
Like, St. Louis screwed
they're
up.
very difficult to replace, and that's why I think the Rantanen deal also won't work out. Because Colorado is never going to replace him. Well, I shouldn't say never. Within the next 10
Colorado
years.
is totally fine. I bet you, like, watch how this shapes. And now
If
they have
they
cap
need
space
another
to add
guy.
a piece. They just moved one player who's really good. For
Yeah.
now someone, like, we're learning how good Natchez is. Because
he's a good
obviously
player.
I'm paying attention to it more because of the trade.
Yeah.
They got him and a young I can cover, and they've got now cap space at the deadline. So they're turning Rantanen into 3 impactful players.
Well, they have to make that move.
Exactly.
Before we can fully judge it, I think it's fair to say.
I don't think like the more you dig into it, I think what Colorado did was great.
What's your ad
I
read?
also- What's that?
Ty has to do an ad read.
I made a poll of which team they agree with.
How am I doing?
Sweat. I'm at 81%.
Oh my god.
And we got a super chat because of it.
Oh, it worked.
I stand with Liam from Lance, $2. Thanks, Lance. No. I wouldn't trade Jay. He's a superstar player.
It's unfortunate this is how the chat views this.
I don't think everyone's against you.
It's so funny how I go out in public and people come up to me to talk to me about this.
About on your side.
Yes.
They're too afraid
And it's
to come
so
to us.
funny. It's like, are they the quiet majority? I don't get it. I get so many mixed signals.
So,
I'm not even
don't
looking
know.
for support. I don't give a shit. This is my opinion.
yeah, that's fine. I don't think you're... I don't know, whatever.
And I know in my heart of hearts, I'm right.
I hope you prove them wrong, because if you are right, that means the Oilers don't win the Stanley Cup.
Oh, I'm removing even like I'm going to fair to that component, but
Yeah.
I'm even still like we win the cup. I'm still fine to make the move because it's about winning multiple Stanley Cups.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
I don't know.
But there's
I don't know what
variables.
the
There's
value would
variables.
be.
There's variables to consider. I'm with ya.
I think there's a lot of examples around the league of when you trade these young guys of it not working out for the team that trades them away.
Yeah,
And the situations
what
are
you're
all very
getting is very
different.
important.
Yeah.
But also signing someone to a bad contract also creates its own set of problems.
And we did that with Nurse, I suppose, too.
Yep.
Nation Vacation. You can go watch Bouchard play on a Nation Vacation.
Come watch this live. This discussion live in Vegas with Liam and I. We have 2 types of packages with flight and without. Go to nationgear.ca and Tyler's showing me stuff. I don't have my contacts in, so I can't read it.
Turn it around. I'll read it.
Oilersnation every day with Liam and Jay.
What is that one? Oh, Oodle Noodle. You should be able to get this one, Jay.
What am I reading?
Running from February 1st to March 2nd, come in store to fill out
I
your
was wondering when we're going to start this.
free ballot. The second ballot.
Same
with
as we
any
did for the one to
purchase.
Denver. Go on Oodle Noodle, free chance to enter, purchase a meal, get a second chance to enter, and then keep coming back and flooding every Oodle Noodle location in the Edmonton area with ballots to increase your chances to win and come join us in Vegas.
There you go. How did
It's
the
flights, hotel, tickets in the Stella Artois experience box thing, which that's where I'm going to butcher it. But all-inclusive drink, all-inclusive food. We're staying at Circa, access to Stadium Swim. Liam and I are doing the live show.
Also, yeah. The how did the people enjoy the Denver one who won the trip to Udon?
Did you see the videos?
I did see a lot of stuff from there. Yeah.
They were over the moon.
Good.
And they're like, this is so great. We go to Oodle Noodle 109th Street all the time. I'm like, perfect. You made a good food decision because Oodle Noodle's delicious.
It is.
And then it just so happened you won a trip to Vegas and you love the Edmonton hockey team.
Doesn't get better
It's a
than
match
that.
made in heaven. That could be you. See, go watch those videos of those two, that couple. They had the time of their lives.
You want to read the Super Chats, Ty? You're welcome to join in on the show.
I would if I can read them.
Team Liam. Oh, save Ty, sorry. $5 from Tammy. Tammy, I don't know. Oh, that was Team Liam. $5, $10 from Tammy to the Ben Stelter Foundation through the Super Chat. Thanks, Tammy.
Look at us supporting a good cause.
There you go. Teamwork makes the dream work. Are you a mime now?
Thanks for tuning in. Oil up.
Oh, now I got to be on a call in 1 minute.
Yeah, that was good.